We are talking again with Rabbi Leib Tropper Shlita, and just by way of mentioning it, I do refer to the Rosh Yeshiva as Reb Leib only based on our close relationship when Rabbi Tropper was the Rosh Yeshiva in Kol Yaakov, and a Rebbe, an esteemed Rebbe at Or Sameach, and those who came to be worthy to study with Rabbi Tropper came to affectionately call him as Reb Leib. So it's B'derech Kavod that I refer to the Rosh Yeshiva as Reb Leib with his permission, when really we should be addressing you as Rabbi Tropper, which would be the proper title. So if you'll allow me, Reb Leib, to use that appellation.
It's an honor and a compliment. Thank you.
So today we're talking about the concept of education, yeshiva education, elementary and high school education. Is there a way to enhance our current educational system, going from kindergarten, let's say, all the way through kollel?
I guess that there's always a way to enhance everything. In the material world, that's what we're constantly doing. We're always enhancing things, enhancing them, making them more nechmad lamare, always more beautiful for the eyes, to attract and seduce human beings to get more involved in materialistic vanity. In truth, I'm not the pundit, or at least I'm not appointed as the pundit to direct or instruct or suggest even some kind of things, some kind of ideas that may elevate or inspire a greater amount of education and a greater amount of cheshek. One of the interesting things Reb Chaim Volozhin writes in Pirkei Avos and other places is that for a person to remember his learning, he has to learn b'simcha. I shouldn't say it makes it a condition, but he definitely says that it is one of the major components that help a person remember his Torah that he learned, was that he learns b'simcha. A contributing factor to that simcha, of course, is the Rebbe who teaches his Talmidim. I had a Rebbe in 6th grade who every morning all together would sing Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Samid, and there was freilichkeit and simcha. There was joy, not only happy, but even the freilichkeit, joy, which is just external expression, which has ashpah on the inside. It would be so present. Unfortunately, from what I understand, and my own son who learned the yeshiva, I felt the presence of that absence of that kind of simcha and joy and happiness and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean that that's the way it is all over. There are Gedolei Yisrael that have particularly comments on how to be mechanech and earn the title, the special holy adjective of a mechanech. It's not just a profession, it's an adjective, a title, a mechanech, somebody who is training someone to be an Eved Hashem through his limud HaTorah and through whatever else that he is learning. I just want to share with you that the Moran Reb Chaim Kanievsky Shlita, the Goyen Hador, the Sefer Torah that's mamish, that's alive and walking on two legs, Rechav Rashbam, quotes his father, Zecher Tzadik Levracha Schusa Yogan Aleinu the Stipler. I'm going to read it. Because in my day, in Yeshiva, my day is not that long ago, even though I'm probably a couple of years past Bar Mitzvah, but in my younger years, when I was in elementary school, I had mostly a fantastic Rebbeim. And there was something interesting from the 5th grade and on that we had in the yeshiva. And this is what he writes about the Reb Chaim and about his father, Zecher Tzadik Levracha Schusa Yogan Aleinu.
Which sefer is this from?
The sefer Orchas Yesher Ois Ches is called Chinuch. I don't want to even start with the beginning of the Ois Ches because there's big challenges to what we believe in today in North America. He says, V'adoni Ovi Mori V'Rabbi Zecher Zechoyne Levracha L'chaya Elam Haba. It's a staple. Hoye Meyayetz. He would give an eitzah. Lilmoid im Yelodim Migil Sheva, from the age of 7 to start learning with children. Musar. I don't know if the yeshivas today they have a Musa Seder in the class that they open up. We had an Orchas Tzadikim. The prize that I got for being a masmid of the class in the 6th grade by my Rebbe, Rav Yaakov Goldstein, was that I got a Orchas Tzadikim with my name inscribed in the Orchas Tzadikim. To learn Musa, afilu chomesh dakos b'chol yom, even 5 minutes per day, kedei sheyedu, in order that our children should know she'olam einoi hefker, that the world is not hefker. And it is not a course we take, because we're Jews, we're from, we learn Mishnayos and Gemara, but the world is not hefker. And there's like the Chazon Ish writes, his lashon is there's a mitzvah and a mitzaveh, a commandee and a commander. V'odom einoi chai lo olam, and a person has to know that there is a limit to a person's life. V'yesh Gan Eden, and he has to know about Gan Eden. Schar v'oinish is one of the Yud Gimel Karma of the Rambam, and V'gehenim. V'yesh lilmoid itom, we should learn with our children, b'sefer kal, in a very easy sefer, shegam yolodim yovinu, the children should understand it. Kigoin orches tzadikim, which is very understandable. Very, 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 very accessible and not difficult to understand. Especially today we have with Nikudis and soon we're going to have with pictures, I imagine. And over a period of time, Yidbak Bahem, they'll become connected to them with Yira Shemayim, Yiru Te'elas, and they'll see the benefit of it. So, and then he adds on that, of course, if you're Yira Shemayim, everything becomes seen through a different perspective in life. So the Chazon Ish is, the Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Shlita, Moran Reb Chaim Kanievsky, actually is writing this about a parent to a child. It definitely is applicable to a yeshiva, because not all parents do this with their children, Musa with their children, a regular Seder with their children. They should, but they don't always do that. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Moran Reb Chaim, is miyayetz in the name of his father, the Stipler Goin, to commit to having that 5-minute Musa Seder with the child, with children, or Rebbe with his Talmidim, who are also children. Talking about a Rebbe being a father and Talmidim being children, the Imadatim Oisem is Benechem, the Chazal tell us, Elu Talmidim HaKriyim Bonim. That must be ingrained and repeatedly ingrained in the Rebbe, the Mechanech's mind, that the child in front of him is his child for the year, for the duration of the year that he has that Talmud in his class. He's not just a student like in other schools, Lahavdul Elef Alfa Havdalas. It's not a job, it's a parental responsibility. That's what the Chazal want to impress when they tell us. Why do we have to have Banim? What's the point of making Chazal? Shandal Levanecha. So why does the Torah call us Banim? Everybody is a Ben? No, Ela Tamidim, those are referring not just to your children, but referring to Klal Yisrael, the Tamidim of Klal Yisrael, Hakriyim Banim, that are called children. Why? It's a different responsibility when it's your child than when it's just another person's child. There was a story that I think I may have mentioned in another YouTube. Rab Dessler, Zechat Tzadik Levracha, the Mashgiach of Ponevezh in the earlier years, the great Bal Musa, the brilliant Bal Musa, the deep thinking Bal Musa, Morana Rab Dessler Zatzal. During the time that he was Mashgiach, some people were frustrated with him. Some Talmidim were, can you imagine, Rab Dessler frustrated with him.
In terms of what?
Exactly. So they went to the Chazon Ish to talk about Rab Dessler. What was their main grievance? What was their main thing that was bothering them? He's not tough. He's not a mashgiach that's really strong. He's just like, he's very gentle. How could you be a disciplinarian and when a mashgiach is supposed to be, to tell people when to come to Seder and when not to come to Seder, and when to, if you're very gentle. So the Chazon Ish responded with a reflex, telling them there's a psak haloch in Choshe Mishpat, that meshicha, whistling to an animal and coming to you, to be kind to acquire the animal by whistling and coming to you, Kairi love hiba, that's Mashiach, is a better kinyan than chazaka, than grabbing the animal by the neck and just holding on to him, which is the metaphor for exactly what the Dessler was doing. He was kind of the Talmidim b'Mashiach. Don't demand authoritarian mashgiach. You want a mashgiach that's going to be mashpia, that's going to penetrate the hearts of the Talmidim, and that is kind of with Mashiach, only with bringing close the Talmidim close to the Rebbe. By the Talmidim feeling Shinantam levanecha elu hatalmidim hakruyim banim, when the Talmud feels not just as some kind of intellectual knowledge about a Rebbe is a father, very nice, and a student is his son. It has to feel. A son doesn't just know that his father is his father. A son feels that his father is the father. The father acts like a father. Kairei lo v'hiba. Sweetly whistles with that euphonic sound of a whistle.
Beautiful.
Well, that's what the Chazon Ish had. So then Chazon Ish talks about his criterion for the resume of a true Rebbe. To be able to, we don't have, like, I don't know how they do it today in terms of assigning jobs to people for as a Magachir or a Rebbe in a Yeshiva or Malamed. But the Chazon Ish has a very interesting point about what he believes to be the important things that a Rebbe has to have. Or, first of all, he talks about what they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read it because it's very important. Min ha-mafsidim ha-yoser ikriyim. The primary damage that's done in a yeshiva or an environment or any educational environment is Heyois melamed larabim. If the person, the mechanech, the Rebbe who's teaching, a certain amount, a group of people, a group of children, a group of students, if that melamed is built to shalom b'midosav, if he doesn't have a shleimus in his midas, that is the most damaging thing that could happen to a student. Hamachanech habilti shalom b'midosav, this mechanech who has a deficit in his midas, hefseidosav kvulim. What's missing is double than what we would have if he just, didn't have a problem with the midas. If he had only a problem with teaching, but this is hefseidosav kvulim. If he wasn't a most, articulate teacher, doesn't compare to the damage of someone who's bilti shalom b'midosav, not a shalom in his midas. B'tzad echad, on one hand, ene yedei teres hamusa. He doesn't know teres musa. Ve'ene yedei al ma lahakpid, doesn't know what to be lahakpid. What should he be concerned about? What should bother him about a Talmud? What should be a cause for his concern regarding a Talmud? Because he's not a Baal Musa himself. He's not a person who has instilled in himself the proper Musa. So he's makbid on every little thing. It doesn't make a difference. Umeshagrom b'hanhogos migu olois al pitoris hamidus b'bli mesim. And because he doesn't have midas, he makes them, the Talmidim, accustomed to terrible, disgusting character without even paying attention to it, because he doesn't know that it's the wrong thing. He's not aware. It's not, God forbid, something which is done with intention. It's an innocent crime, but it's a crime. Even if he says a gewaltige Stickel Torah, lekcha, he's giving his Torah. His Torah is beautiful, and it's gewaldig, and it's correct. But if he doesn't live the life of Torah in terms of his midas, Torah represents midas as well. So to teach a sugya in Bav Mitzia, while that same Torah talks about midas, that same Torah talks about character, about being doimet HaKadosh Baruch Hu mahu afato. So therefore, if he is not consistent in that, ein dvorov nichnosin aleiv hachanich, his words can't penetrate the heart of those he's trying to educate. Not only that, and that should be repeated by heart to ourselves in our mind. Student always learns more from the Rebbe's actions than from his shiurim. V'syachsus harav letalmidav, and the relationship between the Rebbe and the Talmud, doresh tchunas trumius, it demands elevated reflexes, behavior, an adopted way of conducting oneself. Umitsui hamidas, and the appropriate way of using midas. Not extremes. Mitsui hamidas means it should be weighed. When a person, a chanich, when an educator yells at his Talmud in a way with a very, what you call in Yiddish, a prost way of speaking to him. I've heard a Menal once yell at a Talmud, "Are you stupid?" I heard it myself. I was shocked. I was shivering. Like to say, Leiben Leben, my kishkis, I couldn't believe it. And I went over to this Menal. I said, "You know what? After you yelled at him and told him, you said to him, 'Are you stupid?' So he thinks that you think he's stupid. So everybody knows now he's stupid. So now he can act anybody he wants. Because you told him that he's stupid. So whatever he says, whatever he does, fits into exactly what you said he was. He's stupid."
He lived up to his expectations.
Exactly. He lived up to the expectations that you imposed upon him. Correct. Exactly. So, he says, or he screams at him on something that he did wrong. There's no question that the Rebbe has to correct the student, but yelling and screaming, mis'arif kan ravetoiv, there's a mixture of bad and good. The good obviously is, if there's a telos of tachocha, giving musar to the student of not doing the wrong thing. And the student gets Messiah, he feels bad for what he did wrong. The goymer believer, even if the student will go and make up his mind, he'll never to do it again, never to repeat that terrible mistake that he did, because his Rebbe yelled at him. Yesh kan inyan ra, there is something terrible. Shachanich misragel, the Talmud gets used to, accustomed, and familiar with. Begasus uvekabdonus, to act prost, to act like just a gas mensch, a street man, uvekabdonus, and to be always fastidious and be makbid on every single thing, and give no one room for anything. Never always look at the negative of people. His misrag is begasus uvekabdonus. And then he adds on one thing which I really want to end with this, and he says, he sees his Rebbe using, exercising, when the Rebbe is giving him mus, he sees those the gasus, the prostkite, and the kapdonus, and this being so makpid on every little thing and smallest thing in the world, and not giving the child a room for an innocent mistake. And then I'm going to skip this next word because I want to explain it in a minute. Go to the next word. V'talmid. I want, please, if people can remember these words, I remember this by heart, and I'll never forget this. Bez Hashem. V'talmid tomid mechake es raboisov. A Talmud always mimics his rabbeim. Nachamol. V'talmid tomid mechake es raboisov. A Talmud always mimics his rabbeim. And the way the Rebbe behaves, or the Rebbe calls somebody an idiot, or the Rebbe acts, just gets angry, and then out of anger he hits the Talmud, or angry he yells at the Talmud, and mavayish the Talmud. And then Chazon Ish adds, and he says, the Godol Shimusha Yosem Elimuda. The Chazal say in Brachos that interning by a Rebbe is greater than actually learning from a Rebbe. In other words, when you live with your Rebbe, you learn more than when the Rebbe teaches you. And that Gemara is using it to tell us the importance of running after interning by your Rebbe. So now he's saying it in the other way around. He's saying, when you intern with your Rebbe and you watch him behavior with his students, how much more that has an effect in a negative way than learning Torah from him. The Gadol Shimusha Yosem Limuda, the internship of a Talmud with his Rebbe and watching him how he acts in the positive way is better than learning, and the negative way also has a more negative impact than learning from him. There is There's an old phrase, I don't remember who said this, but it's a phrase I saw this, I'm embarrassed to say where I saw this. I saw this in the Reader's Digest a number of years ago. Actually, when I was in Yeshiva, I saw this when I was a bocher at Yeshiva. And I got married very early, I was at 19, so I was pretty young when I saw this. It said the following. I try to commit it to memory, I hope I'm repeating it correctly. He says, bear in mind that children of all ages close their ears to advice and open their eyes to example. Or as Emerson said, your actions speak so loud, I cannot hear a word you're saying. And then Chazon Ish accuses this Malamed who employs these kinds of terrible ways of educating their children. He's saying that his education is also not good. So that's pretty important, I believe, for us. There's more to this, and perhaps another time we'll finish that, but I think this is very important for us to hear. So if you ask me the question, how could we, if we could sit down line by line and we had gathered all Mechanechim and say, let's see, how could we, if I have this kind of a shaykhis to this kind of problem with the Chazon Ish's, I don't fit into this, the proper way to do it, the way the Chazon Ish would expect me to do. Maybe I should try to see if I can put myself in the situation where the Chazon Ish should be proud of my chinuch. The Gadol Hador, by all standards, would be proud of the way I mechanech my children, mechanech my talmidim, mechanech my other children that I have in my classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leib, for that valuable lesson and lessons which we will hopefully continue to implement.
Thank you so much.